Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to tell you some stories. And these aren't just campfire tales.
No, not at all.
These are chilling accounts of real events drawn from people who ran into something inexplicable or terrifying or just profoundly unlucky.
Right.
We've gathered these unsettling stories from various places, and, well, our goal today is just to recount them. We want to respect their seriousness, the mystery, focusing on that human experience of hitting the unknown.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how these seemingly separate events kind of weave together this picture of human vulnerability, against forces we often just can't grasp or control.
Exactly. So let's get into our first one. This takes us back a bit to 1961. It's about the disappearance of Michael Rockefeller.
Ah, yes, the Rockefeller heir.
Right. Young guy, incredible privilege, the Rockefeller family. But he was restless, even with all that comfort. He was an adventurer, an ethnology enthusiast. He wanted something different.
Seeking something more authentic, maybe.
Maybe. And that search led him way out there, Netherlands, New Guinea. He went to study the Asmat people.
A very remote culture, especially back then.
Extremely. But what started as this, academic trip turned into a survival situation. His boat capsized about 3 miles offshore.
Not a good place to be stranded.
Definitely not. 2 local guides who were with him, they managed to swim back for help. But Rockefeller and his companion, Rennie Wessel, they were left clinging to the boat. Drifting.
Just drifting out further.
Yeah. And rescue was slow coming. After 2 whole days, they drifted maybe 12 miles out. And that's when Michael made a choice. A desperate one. He decided to swim for shore.
Leaving Wessel with the boat.
Yeah. Wessel was actually rescued the next day. But Michael, despite this huge search and rescue operation, nothing. He was never seen again.
Just vanished.
Vanished. And it became this huge story globally. Lots of talk, naturally. The main theory was, okay, he drowned or died from exposure. Makes sense, right? Long swim, open ocean.
Plausible, certainly.
But here's the thing. He was only 23. Apparently in great shape, a good swimmer. So, that simple answer. It felt a bit, incomplete to some.
Doubts lingered.
Big time. And this is where it gets really dark. Many people came to believe he did make it to shore, only to be found by the Asmat people. And back then, the Asmat practiced headhunting and ritual cannibalism.
That's historically documented.
So the chilling idea took hold. Maybe he wasn't lost at sea. Maybe he was captured, killed, and eaten.
Yeah, and it's important to understand the context there.
What?
While horrifying to us, these practices, headhunting and cannibalism, they weren't just like random savagery for the Asmat at that time. They were deeply tied into their cosmology, their social structure. Often it was about ritual revenge, absorbing an enemy's power, or part of mourning rites.
Right.
So this context, it makes that theory about Rockefeller's fate, well, not just sensational speculation, but tragically plausible within their world back then.
So for decades, that was kind of the grim assumption, or one of them anyway, that he died somehow, probably tragically on land or sea, until, well, relatively recently, some footage resurfaced. It was filmed in 1969.
8 years after he disappeared.
Exactly, 8 years later, near where he likely would have washed ashore if he'd made it. And it shows 17 Asmat canoes, waka, they call them, crossing the water.
Okay. Standard footage of the time.
Mostly. But there's this one moment, brief. One tribesman, he stands out. Part of his face is covered in blue war paint. And he has a beard.
A beard.
A beard. And suddenly the question pops up. Could this guy, with a beard, maybe the build of a strong swimmer, a canoeist, could that possibly be Michael Rockefeller?
Wow, okay, that throws a wrench in things.
Doesn't it? It forces you to think.
Huh.
What if he wasn't killed? What if somehow he was accepted, lived with them, adopted their ways to survive?
It's a radical thought.
It is. And look, skeptics immediately jump in. They say, no way, an outsider would have been killed and likely eaten. Or maybe it's just an albino tribesman, like grainy footage, light skin.
Optical illusion, perhaps?
Perhaps. But the image, the beard, the context, it gives this unexpected kind of eerie support to the survival theory. Makes the whole mystery even more vivid, I guess.
It injects uncertainty back into a case everyone thought was cold.
Totally. We'll likely never know for sure what happened to him, but that image, it adds this incredibly haunting layer to the story of a man presumed dead for decades.
It really does. It speaks to how these unresolved mysteries grab us, especially when some ambiguous clue pops up years later. It's almost like a Rorschach test for our own ideas about the unknown.
That's a good way to put it. Okay, so from like the physical dangers of the jungle and these intense cultural encounters. Let's shift gears.
Okay.
We're moving to a different kind of unknown, something more internal, maybe. Something that messes with time itself. This is more like a personal horror story. Someone shared this, calling it a modern urban legend, but insisted it was absolutely real for them.
All right, I'm intrigued.
So this person gets off work, 8 p.m., walking home down this lonely, kind of desolate road. Picture it. Dense forest one side, empty, barren fields on the other.
Already setting mood.
Yeah, they said the walk always felt creepy, even normally. So about 5 minutes in, they notice something. Way off, like 200 meters, in the open field, a shape, a human shape, moving slowly towards the road.
Okay, weird, but maybe just someone out late.
That's what they thought at first. Odd, but dismissed it. Kept walking. Looked back a few moments later. The figure was way closer, maybe only 100 meters away now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And they said, despite the figure walking at what looked like a, quote, normal pace, they realized it was a woman had covered that ground unnaturally fast.
Right, the math doesn't add up.
Exactly. Unease starts creeping in. They pick up their pace, look back again. She's only 50 meters away now. Described as moving like a moth attracted to the light of my phone.
That's a chilling description, like she's drawn to them.
Right. Closing the distance way too fast. So they call out, are you okay? Just gets this strange hum back. No words. And she just keeps coming. Like some kind of demented zombie, they said.
Oh, man.
They glanced ahead for a second just to see the road, looked back. She was right at the edge of the road. Then, like, instantly, just behind me now. Heard her footsteps squelching on the wet grass, then hitting the tarmac. Right there.
Terrifying. Could they see her clearly then?
Yeah. And the description is rough, hollow and pale eyes, emaciated face, skin and bones, scraggly and light hair. But the worst spory, they said, was her mouth.
What about it?
It looked like it had been sewn shut, like with a needle and thread.
Oh, God, that's deeply disturbing.
Right. They said they tried to speak but couldn't, just froze. She just stared for a few moments, this awful, unsettling gaze, then turned, crossed the road, and just walked into the woods, disappeared.
And the person?
They bolted, ran straight to the nearest bar, heart pounding, needing to be around people, tell someone, rushed inside to find their friends.
Relief. Safety.
You'd think. But then their friends say, what took you so long? We've been waiting for you for like 3 hours.
3 hours?
3 hours. They were totally confused. Pulled out their phone. It was 11:15 p.m. They left work at 8 p.m. A text message timestamp confirmed it. That short walk, that encounter, the sprint to the bar, somehow took over 3 hours.
Wow. Missing time. That's gone.
Just vanished time.
This missing time element, it pops up in a lot of strange accounts. Paranormal stuff, sure, but also in psychology.
Yeah.
Extreme stress, trauma, it can seriously mess with our perception of time.
Like your brain just skips.
Or stretches or compresses, memory encoding gets fragmented under that kind of duress.
Yeah.
So you end up with these gaps, these periods you just can't account for rationally. It feels like lost time because to your conscious memory, it is lost. It's a really chilling reminder of how fragile our internal sense of time can be.
Yeah. And for this person, the impact was huge. They said there was just no rational explanation. They were totally convinced the missing time and the girl were in some way connected.
They linked the two events directly.
Absolutely. Went from being a non-believer in, anything weird to being completely certain, and the fear stuck. They said they still take the long way home, avoiding that road.
I don't blame them. One event like that could change how you see everything.
Totally. Okay, our next story. This one feels like it's straight out of a thriller movie, but it's terrifyingly real. A Close Call. Involves a babysitter in Mexico.
Okay.
This comes from someone whose cousin was babysitting 3 little kids, 5, 6, and 8 years old, for this wealthy family, the Hernandez family. And they were very security conscious, cameras everywhere, top-notch system. The cousin apparently always felt the husband's job was a bit dodgy.
Uh-oh. Foreshadowing.
Big time. So one night, around 10 p.m., the cousin's in the kitchen, notices a man outside, staring through the window.
Just staring.
Then he taps on the glass, asks, quite politely apparently, if it's the Hernandez residence.
Polite but creepy.
Very. The cousin, thinking fast, just instinctively says no. Asks him what he wants. He goes, oh, nothing. My mistake. Have a nice night. And leaves.
Seems too easy.
That's what the cousin thought. Got bad vibes. Checked the kids. They were asleep. Then called the parents, Claudia and her husband, just to say, hey, weird guy at the window. Were you expecting anyone?
Smart move to call.
Yeah. And the reaction on the other end was immediate and scary. The husband grabs the phone, voice super tense, tells the cousin instantly, lock everything. Doors, windows, now. Wake the kids up. hide them, find safe places.
Oh, okay, that's not a normal reaction to a mistaken address.
Not even close. And get this, within minutes, police cars descend on the house, sirens, lights, the whole deal. They move fast, arrest the guy from the window, and 2 other men the cousin hadn't even seen. They were hiding in a black Jeep nearby.
So it wasn't a mistake. 3 guys, Jeep waiting, this was planned.
Definitely planned.
And that immediate, professional level response from the husband and the police arriving so fast, it screams pre-existing threat. This wasn't random. They were living under some kind of danger already.
Exactly.
It just drives home how wealth and security systems sometimes can't protect you from targeted personal danger, especially if it's connected to, dodgy business. That routine night became life or death in seconds.
And the truth came out later from the CCTV. The cameras caught the men sneaking around outside the house earlier, and they were carrying machetes.
Machetes, oh my God.
Turns out the husband did have cartel connections. He'd recently testified against some former associates. These guys, these goons, they weren't there to rob the place.
They were there for the kids.
They were sent to grab the children, not even to stop him testifying, just to teach him a lesson.
That's absolutely horrific.
And the only reason it didn't happen, the cousin. When the guys saw her, a face they didn't recognize, they got confused, thought maybe they had the wrong house after all.
Yeah.
They actually decided to hold off, wait for confirmation from their boss before moving in.
Police got there in that window.
Just in time. Before that call came through, the family, as you can imagine, disappeared after that, went into hiding, cut off contact, new life, leaving behind that terrifying what if. What would have happened to those kids? Or the cousin?
Unbelievable luck or timing. Chilling.
Truly chilling. Okay, one last story for today. This one's a modern mystery. Haunting. Takes us to Oahu, Hawaii.
Okay. Hawaii. Sounds nice, but I have a feeling it won't be.
Not this part. We're talking about the Haiku Stairs. You might know it as the Stairway to Heaven.
Ah, yeah. The illegal hike. Very dangerous.
It's extremely dangerous and definitely illegal.
Oh.
Almost 4,000 steps going straight up this steep ridge. So February 2015, an 18-year-old named Dalen Pua went by Moke. His grandmother warned him not to go. Don't hike that trail.
But he went anyway.
He went anyway. Teenager, adventure. He was sending updates, photos on social media back to his family as he climbed up, sharing the journey.
Documenting his ascent.
Exactly. And then he sent one last picture, a selfie, up on the mountainside. After that photo, all communication just stopped. Nothing. He hasn't been seen or heard from since.
Oh no, just vanished up there.
Completely. Huge search followed. 5 days, Navy, fire department, combing the area, found absolutely zero trace of him.
Nothing at all.
Not a thing. So the initial thought naturally was he must have fallen. Tragic, but given the trail, it seemed like the most likely explanation.
Makes sense on that terrain. It's notoriously treacherous.
It is. But
There's a but.
there's a but. What's interesting or maybe unsettling is where his last photo was taken. According to those who know the trail well, the spot wasn't actually in the most difficult or dangerous section, and the area should have been searchable.
Meaning, if he had fallen right there, they likely would have found something.
That's the implication. The lack of any evidence, even in a relatively accessible search area for that point on the trail, makes a simple fall seem less certain. It deepens the mystery. Maybe something else happened, or the mountain just hid him incredibly well.
Or something else.
Or something else, because when people looked really closely at that last photo Moke sent, that selfie, they found something.
Yeah.
Hidden in the bushes, behind him in the photo. Almost missed it at first, but it's there. The distinct shape of a man crouching down.
Crouching. Hidden in the bushes. In his selfie.
Yep, you can just make him out. So immediately, questions fly. Who is that? Another hiker, maybe. Just happened to be there.
But crouching. Hiding. That seems deliberate.
Exactly. Because of that position, looking like he's trying not to be seen, a lot of people now suspect this figure might have something to do with Moke's disappearance.
Did Moke mention seeing anyone else?
No. Nothing in his messages, which suggests he might not have even known this person was there, or so close behind him. And this figure, the man in the photo, he has never come forward.
Never identified himself, never said, I was there too.
Never. Which, of course, just adds fuel to the fire. Why not come forward, even if you saw nothing, just to say, I was hiking there that day. Did he see something happen? Maybe see Mookie fall, but didn't report it because the trail's illegal.
Or he's innocent, but scared of getting in trouble for being on the forbidden trail himself.
That's possible, too. Or, the darker alternative, Was he involved somehow? We just don't know. The questions just hang there. If Mo did die accidentally, his body is still missing, lost somewhere on that mountain. Volunteers still go out, still search sometimes, still hoping.
Wow.
Yeah. It leaves you with this disturbing image, this unknown figure, and complete lack of answers. A truly confounding modern mystery.
It really is. Just
Yeah.
vanishes into the landscape,
Yeah.
potentially with someone else nearby. Haunting.
So these stories, they really remind us, don't they? Even now, with all our tech and knowledge, mysteries are out there. Things happen that just defy easy answers. And sometimes that line between what we know and what we don't, it gets terrifyingly blurry. And these aren't just stories, you know? They happen to real people, left real scars.
It does make you think. It poses that big question, doesn't it? How do we square our rational view of the world with these kinds of experiences that just don't fit? Do we write them off? Or do we let them challenge our understanding a bit?
Yeah, that's the core of it, isn't it? Well, thank you for joining us on this journey into the unsettling today. We hope you keep exploring these kinds of mysteries. Keep that curiosity alive.
Absolutely.
And hey, if you found these stories as gripping and maybe as chilling as we did, please do us a favor. Like this deep dive, share it with anyone else who loves a good mystery, and definitely subscribe to the Horror Docs channel. We've got more true, terrifying tales coming your way.
Until next time.
Stay curious, and yeah, maybe stay safe out there.